Working. Oh, there we go. Okay. Do I have to just delete us a million failed streams on the... Okay, no, I don't. They just didn't use the actual stream that I set up for the YouTube. That doesn't matter. Okay. It was wanting to be complicated. I don't know what the hell's going on with it lately. Like, it's been so... Just, Twitch specifically has just not been wanting to work. I also forgot to set up something. A future me problem. Okay, well, now that's working. I'm just gonna go ahead and post this. So now that I am back, let me make sure it's in 14. We got the YouTube stream going, right? Why isn't the YouTube stream going? Oh, for the love of God. Okay, it is. Ah! God! Why is it getting more and more annoying to stream? None of these issues existed previously. Okay, bitrate good on Twitch. Presumably good on YouTube. Says fine. Okay, we're just... Okay. Ah! Oh, my head's cutting off a little bit with the camera. Oh, well. Oh, I guess I can... We'll slightly adjust that while I'm doing things, because I do set up like this. Ugh. There we go. Just for once, I'd love to just be able to, like, sort on OBS and it work with me. I don't know what's recently been doing this. But anyways, so, not originally what I was going to plan on doing today. But I've decided that I'm going to go into the deepest of dungeons. Now that the DDoSes maybe sort of are no longer happening. Fixed party. Go to level 1. And I'm going to see if I can actually, you know, do what I've done before, or not do what I do, but actually get one of the solo clears. I haven't actually done one of them. I tried on my own before everything happened with the DDoSes and didn't get that far, mostly just because I stopped because, well, the DDoSes were happening. And I did it on Summoner, so this is going to be different. I won't have, like, the healing to fall back on. I also haven't played 14 in a while, so this might be interesting, to say the least. So we'll just have to see. Also, I could be pulling more of you. Oh, that is one thing I did. Not immobile on... I can't pull this many. Also, got to get to the habit of recharging my things each time. Also, that would be... I'm just being bad. I haven't played 14 in a bit, admittedly. It's been a minute. Sorry, I'm just making sure everything is remaining working. I do not want to open Spotify. That'll just get me in trouble. Okay. Oh, I'm looking over there. Anywho. I've seen up to floor 70, or floor 80, or floor 70 through 80. I haven't gone beyond that, so I have learned that I have two very big pain points when it comes to this place, and that is the Cactuar boss and the other one. the Cyclops, the rest of them I'm pretty fine with. Well, that I've done. So it's gonna be interesting to just see. I'm just kind of trying to get into my, trying to just get into like a mood, because I've like been spending the last like 30 minutes. I plan on doing this like, yeah, on the hour. Didn't work out. So yeah, it's been a bit of. Oh, I'm just realizing now that I really should put my potions on my hot bar. It would help if I knew where they were at. There's the compressions. Okay. There we go. What are the skills I even get? I haven't played like Pictoman. I haven't leveled Pictomancer in a minute. What the hell do they even get for the last 10 levels? Okay, they get the 2 heavy hitting things that will destroy stuff. All right. Ugh. I decided to do Pictomancer instead of Summoner because, well, I've done most of this as Summoner, and so I just figured it'd be more interesting to watch me do it as Pictomancer. Let me... 1 second. Move me over a little bit. There we go. Though I do have to get into the habit of redoing my things every time. That is something that I'm just going to keep messing up. On the bright side, Pictomancer does a lot of damage if you don't step in the crap. Yeah. Still good there, still good there. Okay, we're looking good. I honestly thought things were gonna kerfuffle themselves. I'm gonna lose my hand. I'm just gonna lose my hammer. That's funny. But yeah, these, like, honestly, the first, like, 50 floors are pretty easy in this place, if we really want to be honest. Just in general, the place isn't that bad in the slightest. Relaxing music and whatnot. Remember to redo our paints. How the hell did I miss a chest in the first room? I guess I was too busy rambling. That's just behind me and I didn't look. Because I'm an idiot. Okay. I keep doing that. I mean, I guess a damage buff. There's no reason not to, but I'm like trying to think like, oh, get the button. No, have it. Unfortunate, that would have been useful to use at the beginning. Oh shit! I got rainbow. This had to always be a good thing to like start with. It is gonna be interesting figuring out, figuring out the difference of playing Pictomancer versus Summoner. Yes, Google. I am aware that someone logged into my Twitch. It's called me. He. There's no reason not to use the fortune. Well, no, that's a lie. I should wait until we see a treasure room. Also, should get into the habit of initiating with the rainbow drip, considering it is just a very heavy damaging ability. Like, yeah, they did half the health. I can definitely already see how this is, like, gonna be faster. Just because like, for example, I don't have to wait on, like, an exoflare each time. I can just do it. Which is nice. Safety. Ideal, again, it's early floors. We're just doing the standard stuff. We want to get levels. We want to, I didn't initiate with a thing. I am bad at the video game. We want to get levels. We want to get palm enders. And and then pretty much just save them to the later floors. Ideally, would you want to get a few of the it's the whatever ones give you the health buff, because they just basically make the bosses free. You have to make a lot of mistakes for those to not save you. We get a sight. I'll remember to initiate with the rainbow drip. And it's a gain on 2 if I remember correctly, so there was not 2, plus we're just stacked on them. I say as I use it on 1. Oh, I just have a hammer charge left I didn't use. Whoops. Oh, shit. Admittedly, I don't actually know the ideal rotation for... Oh, look, there's one of them. The ideal rotation for Pictomancer anymore, because I know, like, they nerfed them into, like, nerfed them to, like, hell, which I think they were still good. Like, if you look at, like, the current Savage clears, they're, like, Pictomancer is still, like, really up there in terms of, yeah, just clear rates. I was kind of surprised because it's Red Mage, Black Mage, Pictomancer, and then there's clear with Summoner. My poor boy. I'm gonna keep forgetting to start the Rainbow Trip. So they're in a better place now, which again I don't think they were bad beforehand. Like I think Black Mage did get better. I could be wrong. Last year, but I know that there was like an issue where it was like you didn't really want to redo your paintings that much. I think it was like something like that. I know Pictomancer was like weird last tier. I don't know if it's changed this tier that much. Because I'm just not rating this tier. Why am I looking at it? I guess I don't know why I'm looking at it. I'm just not being as attentive. Like I said, I'm not rating this tier. I was feeling a bit worn out with high-end content. Plus the game was constantly crashing, which I can't imagine trying to like raid last week. Because good God. Good Lord. That was a fiasco. I did see on Reddit, not Reddit, Twitter, Twex, trolled, you know, because they asked following them because of the, like the DDoSing thing, and you know, pointed out it's like really funny that the DDoS has stopped right after the world race. It's like it's probably a coincidence because again, it wasn't tied to 14, but yeah, it is. It is a funny coincidence, an interesting coincidence to say the least. Boo. You suck. Die. Except you won't, because freaking damage down sucks. Son of a bitch! Okay, well. I'm being a bit too hasty. I should put you on X. Thankfully, I'm being reckless on the early floors where you're allowed to be reckless. I'm not being stupid. Yet. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna do dumb things. And look, my grass is still here. Why did I do that? There was literally no reason to do that. Good thing that is a gain. I could stand and tank that tornado, but I'm very scared of what that tornado would do to me. On the bright side, even though I'm not doing this tier, I have heard like very good things about it. I think like this, I think Arcadian has been cemented for a lot of people as like the best tier in the game. And recency bias and whatnot, things can change, can and will change. But I mean, The first tier was really fun. Second tier was really fun. I enjoyed like all the fights. I did somewhat get burnt out with E or M8, but I still enjoyed the fight. It's very stressful as a healer, I'll say that. It's the second phase. Or even the first phase. Yeah, so the whirl of wind, like that stack in the first phase was something. Especially like if I'm trying to optimize it. And I kind of feel bad. Like I didn't. It's because I was playing like different healers this tier. Like I did last tier where I did really good. I was playing Scholar and White Mage. White Mage being my best. And you know this tier I played Astro and Sage. I think I switched to Scholar, but then I switched to Scholar and then I went to Sage for the last fight just because I wanted to do something different because my co-killer also switched. But it's just like, I don't know. I guess just something wasn't clicking with me with Astro specifically. Like, I think I was just playing more defensively on Scholar or Sage. They're all the same. Yeah, because no matter how hard I tried, I just could not get a positive parse on Astro. And I felt like I was doing good. But, yeah, no, there's just something about Astro I was not good about. I was about to say I should. Oh, why am I popping that? But it's like, why would I? It's a sight. There's no reason to. Oh, cool. Please don't give me another damage down. That would make me a very sad boy. That's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. Just everything's still looking good. Still looking good. Okay, we're good. Good. Don't explode. You didn't. Oh, my head just felt really funny there. That was weird. Unfortunately, these early floors are going to be like boring. But I was like thinking, oh, maybe I should just kind of like skip to like the fun floors. But if I like plan on like doing anything like with a guide or something like that, I need to like show the whole journey, right? To show the whole little ordeal. So we gotta do the boring to get to the interesting. Plus, it gives me more time to prepare for those like last fights. I probably need to figure out what the last couple bosses are before I do them, or I might just go in blind. Who knows? Let's see. Well, that's gonna mean, yeah, except I don't have items, so it is not game being mean to me. Remember, paintings. Thank you. First boss is gonna be interesting. Oh no, the first boss should be fine. Second, one of the bosses like. Why did I have that? Wait, what did I have that like as a? I guess okay. I guess it's tied to that. I'm confusing with Star Prism. That's what it is. I was like, wait, I thought I didn't get that to 100, but yeah, no, I'm just confusing it with the other ability. Again, I haven't played Picto since like the first tier, and I didn't raid with it. It's just it was my go-to DPS for that tier. This is greedy. That's gonna hit all three of those, but it'll be fine. A little risky just because I don't have any healing as an option, but again, not really that big of an issue, especially when I level. Yay! It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with the new jobs. Or not the new jobs, but just with job design going forward anywhere. Because I do think like Pictomancer outside the complete and utter balancing issues that this job had on release is probably one of the more interesting jobs they've. Also, I forgot a thing. What's the first one? It's one of the more interesting jobs they've ever made. Like, and to be fair, that interesting like a nature and its like gameplay loop did lead to it being like one of the most broken things in like creation, not just because it was like imbalanced on release, but because like fundamentally how the job works. Because the big reason why, you know, I hate my life. The big reason as to why Picto was such a problem wasn't just because it did absurd amounts of damage. It's because it did better than any other job when it came to downtime. Because the more just repainting your paintings and meant that you were just going to be able to do an absurd amount of damage anytime there was any moment where you couldn't target the boss. So, and it just, that was an advance. Oh, that's why I didn't do it, right, idiot. And so it was just, that's probably why it was like so strong in like ultimates, like specifically like Fru. Like you needed a Pictomancer if you wanted to complete the fight, because it just, no other caster could even come close to like getting the damage that Picto could do, because, you know, Summoner, Red Mage, Black Mage, they don't have any way to really, I should kill that thing, but I don't really care. You know, they don't really have any way to like reset during downtime, and Pictomancer is the best example of resetting during downtime, because you just get like 3 incredibly strong nukes. Like you're saving yourself, how long is it, like 9 GCDs? So they're like 3 per, like it's 3 GCDs. I don't know why I said that. I thought they were like slightly longer. Well, it's like 3.5 GCDs, and that's just absurd, especially like when you add those up. It's like the same thing with like White Mage. White Mage does incredibly well in like fights with downtime, just because you can burn lilies, and that's like basically the same thing. You get 3 free GCDs. I didn't do the thing. I am bad. Nope. I'm being good. I am playing the Vijima game right. There we go. 2 barks. That's not bad at all. That's the one we want. Of course, we're not going to need them for quite a while, but, you know, always having them. It's better to have them than not have them, and especially when the game's not going to want to give them to you later. Well, I say that. This like dungeon is like pretty notorious for being very generous with like the essences, because like it's the later floors, it's like a 50-50 chance that, why did it, oh, the Aether Hue word, oh, it's like a 50-50 chance that you either get the chest either explodes or you get a words, don't mind, a whatever the, what the hell they call, incense. I'm losing my goddamn mind. That's why I couldn't like repaint, because you're being a prick. And this should let me get a prison. No, it's 2 more. That gives me a free prism, which I can use on you, which I can hit you with a meteor, and you're dead. I honestly think Picto is like the best example of kind of what the Summoner remake should have been. Just because the job is simple, but it's very interesting in what it does, and it's fun. Like cycling through the different paintings, them all doing different things, and you having to manage them, like it's just like kind of what I would have wish you would have done with the summons. Ooh, that's well, yeah, that's could be worse, honestly. And then we just meteor to death. Maybe shouldn't have used the fortune there. There probably would have been better options, but it doesn't matter. Again, early floors, I can basically do this crap blindfolded and not be punished for it. You just had to live with an HP, didn't you? At least I got like a good payoff for it. 2 for the price of 1. 3, so that was there. Guarantee I'm gonna get myself in trouble with that a dash at least once. Let me, yeah, just making sure the YouTube, that is. Oh, whoops. We need to make a slight adjustment to this. The YouTube stream is being dumb because it didn't start with the scheduled one I had. Say V. Line, there we go. Screw it, I'll go ahead and put in the thumbnail. There we go. Save. Yeah. Okay, hopefully that's updated now. Yep, it's in gaming. Okay, yep. We're good! It probably, maybe, sorta. But what are you gonna have for us, sir? 3 maze roots. No, it's 2 maze roots and a bark. I will happily take a strength. Let's just clear these even faster. What's our levels looking like? Halfway. Not bad, not bad. Oh, there's our exit. Nah, I don't need to. The meteors are like gain. I'm gonna get myself killed. Give me a reason. Oh, I thought you were gonna let me get a free clear here. Even though I still would have full cleared the floor, mind you, because like the maze route wouldn't have actually been useful because it's not the floor clear. But still, would have been basically a free side. It's an affluent, so we might as well go ahead and use that just for the next floor. You know, get more chests. Nope. Paint, then blast. Anything else in this room? Nope. I was just about... I was literally just about to say, time for me to step on a trap to change that, but... Thank you, game. I very much appreciate your poking fun at me. Say Livy. There we go. Okay. Just couldn't let me get out of here with that one more trap, huh? I say that as if I wouldn't have like willingly stepped on that if I had a sight. Oh shit. That's like one chest away from us spawning in a treasure room. Which thankfully I don't think can happen. But it'd been funny either way. Or it would have been funny if it happened. I technically should use food, but also I don't care enough to use food. Remember to do your painting. Might as well hit both bees with the drip. What's enhanced pigmenty 4 give me? Enhanced pigmenty 4 just... Oh, it gives me a 3rd charge of everything. That's nice. No, it's just randomly at you. Thank you for not seeing me. Okay, this is a moment where I would want to do this, and then we do that. And then we just get blasting with the meteors. And they're still gonna die before I actually get the proc off. Fine by me. Never mind! I mean, I'm not gonna complain. More experience. I'm fine. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pop another affluence. This is gonna be a maze route because screw me, it is not. Haha. And a devotion. Devotion is such a misleading pomander. Because if you don't know how devotion works, it isn't just a case of devotion isn't just a case of it gives you a candelabra. That's funny. It isn't a case of just giving you a candelabra. Like, if I remember correctly, it gives you a candelabra that is one of the transformation candelabras. And, like, so you're basically, the idea is you're essentially using it for a full clear in, like, a couple turns. This isn't right tier. And a couple floors. So there actually is a bit more strategy to it. It's more fun than just your standard, like, it's more interesting than your standard, like, Manticore or Dread? Is that what it was called in Orthos? That sounds right. Because I know there were the Dread Beast, but I feel like there was also the Dread Pomander that turns you into, like, the big boy. This is fine. God, Pictomancer just does so much goddamn damage. I'm really bad today. That I was about to say that could have been a murder like thing, but I wouldn't be able to use it. There we go. Would have been funny if it was a murder thing. Don't like that. Give me one moment. I just wanna make sure of something. That's fine. Just other things are getting less priority. That's kind of weird. Oh, hi. I was about to say I could have used a fortune there, but I didn't think about it before things were already dead. Another devotion, not bad, not bad. Alteration, what floor are we on? We're on floor 9. Might as well go ahead and pop the safety and pop the alteration. This is going to become far less advantageous for us to do that as we get later on and have to start dealing with mimics. I should just start blasting. I can start blasting anyways. Did the hammer, but like I'm pretty sure the hammer doesn't actually work for this. There we go. Oh, it's limit break. Honestly, I don't need the limit break there. I usually have that on the other part. I don't need that on the main 3. There we go. Okay. You know what? I should pause that. Okay. There we go. I will happily pop a strength, especially since we're right before a boss. It'll be very interesting figuring out how to do that boss with Pictomanther. You just had to keep moving. I say as I attack the moving target. Witching, no reason to use that. Yes. Good job, Mr. Clematis. But I was aiming at you, sir. How did it miss you? Eh? Pop it on the way out. Oh, it's mimics. We'll pop it now. Well, I can probably burst these down, actually. Probably do enough damage. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. They didn't stand a ghost of a chance. Aether pull and a steal. Be real with you, Chief. I didn't know we had another steal. I'll pop the strength that is in here. Refresh us. And here we go into the boss. Hee-hee-hoo-ha. But I don't actually want you to close. I just want you to be in the front. There we go. Okay. This will start off with the star, the rainbow drip. Followed by that. And then we'll go... Because that triggers that. That triggers that. Little meteor. And then... Thankfully I left myself just enough space. And we'll come over here. We have the Star Prism for Tweedledee, Tweedledum, and Tweedle Screw You. Which should just murder them. Damn near murder them. Please die faster. Please die faster. Okay. No! My dumbass almost just got me killed. And now I should start resetting up my motifs. Probably save those for the ads, honestly. That goes into that. And then we just probably hit away. Probably, I'll imagine we do this. Let me recharge. And back to where we started. Definitely am taking more damage, but it's because I don't have the massive heal that comes from Lunar Behemoth. Well, the Star Prism going into this. I forget they kind of like they nerfed their AoE. It's like a big thing too, isn't it? everything reset. Don't need to do a raid wide this time around. Probably won't have to for just in general. Pay attention so I don't get caught like I'm about to there. Go ahead and pop that. Hit you, and then start stomping the third one. And then last hit for you. You're jumping there, which means I can stand over here. Okay, we're good. Probably don't need to heal. I 100% don't need to heal. You are just dead. And we'll finish you off with a meteor. Easy. I should have dumped my poetics, but I honestly don't care enough to do it. We're just going to go straight back in after I look at something real quick. Yep. Okay, that's still holding. That's still doing that. We're still looking good. Back in we go. Again, after I open this. Wait a minute. Yeah, back in I go. First 10 floors down. Way too many more to go. Thankfully, I start with all my pictures painted. I guess haste. Do we want to use anything? We'll use a... No, we won't. I should have started with the thing. I am bad at the Vigima game. We'll use the fast one, even if it does less damage, just so I can get the bigger thing online faster. Because it just should murder. If it doesn't, the meteor will. Easy enough. Purification. Not the most useful thing in the world, but pretty decent. I should have used the single target. Oh, so I can't just hammer you. I can start going a little bit faster because we'll get those 2 levels before we make it to the next bush. So I don't have to deal with them, but I have a hammer charge, so I'm going to anyways. Wait a goddamn minute. I just realized why my game is looking funky. So, for anyone that has an AMD, I don't know if it's just me, but if you'll notice, like, with some text, when there's, like, FPS heavy moments, there's some artifacting. And what's happening is I recently updated my drivers, and by updating my drivers, what I also did is updated AMD's shitty software that is now restarting, which I guess I could have just left it dead. Because I was wondering why my frame rate was looking so funky. But I might as well stop in here. What happens is, and I don't know why I started to do this, it would just randomly turn on AI frame gen, which makes things look really shitty. Are you not gonna open back up? Am I gonna have to task manager? Ugh. It's a curse night. I guess I don't know why I'm turning it back on. Like if I task manager words, like that's fine. It looks smoother. Okay. I'm trying to open it to manually turn it off. Okay. Yep. It is on. There we go. Turn it off. I've never like seen a game that looks good with frame gen. It always just makes things look laggy as all hell. Maybe there are games that do it well. Like I said, I haven't seen them. Okay. Take a drink of water. This looks like a dead end, so we might as well just go ahead and get this done. This is the exit. And you should be dead. Yes. Purification. Again, not the most useful thing in the world. We're just gonna go ahead and kill you. I don't have to, but I'm going to. I do like to always take a look at the silvers for this whole... There's actually literally no reason to do that. I'm just wasting time at this point. I'm like, oh yeah, because it'll make clearing the floor faster. The way's open if you didn't notice. I'm what you call a bit of a dumbass. Okay. Don't you dare. Okay. I mean, guess technically I should be getting more palm enders, but again, we have like 60-ish floors. We really need them. Ba ba ba. Anya da da. Darn. I am. It looks like the Hi Wolf. It looks like the DDoSing is done for now. So I decided that I was gonna do some deep dungeons today. Because I've been wanting to do this for a bit. It's just the game has not been in a functioning enough state for me to do so. So today I decided that, yeah, no, I'll actually play the Vichima game for like a minute. Since I haven't been doing it for a while, you're gonna get out of my range, aren't you? Haha, you did not. Oh, nice. Both of them were really good. New trial was very fun. That's a silver chest. That is a gold chest. I don't care enough. I need to get that off there because I'm gonna keep looking at my phone because I get some update, but it is not. Oh, no more Titania. I don't recognize this song. Oh, yes, I do. This is the twinning. Just the piano version of it. Yeah. It's such a... I like the fight, but it's weird of all the things for them to choose Doom Train. Like, why the Final Fantasy VIII reference in the Final Fantasy IX... in the Final Fantasy IX area? Like, why not? Why didn't you just do Arc? That's another, like, building-based... or, ship-based summon. Like, I like the fight. It's just... I don't know, it was weird. Also, kind of weird that they didn't really lean more into, like, the status thing. I think that was like Doom Train's thing in 8, wasn't it? Wasn't he a status-based summon? I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played 8. It has been more than a minute. Hello, sir. Just unload the meteors on you. Oh, you're all just gonna die. Well then. You know what? I can get a star prism off of you. Just because I can. Yeah, like to my knowledge, its only other appearance is an 8. It's just one of those like weird summons that they just kind of came up with out of nowhere. Then again, 8 did have some like 8 had some weird things. Like my personal favorite Guardian Force was the Tonberry King, which you could only get by killing 50 Tonberries because reasons. It's like one of those things. Well, it's like one of those things where it's like, how did people figure this out? But it's back in the day, but it's probably just like, oh, I'm farming the Tonberries. It's like, okay, but that's a game where you don't want to farm. So why are you doing this? It's, I don't get it. It's just one of those things. Diablos. To be fair, Diablos like completely broke the game. Like speaking of Tonberry King, like him plus Odin, like lets you get those, lets you max out your triples, and you can just break the game. Also, I'm still doing the bad. Alluring. Nah, that is a fairy trap. Okay, what hell are you inflicting upon me today, Mr. Deep Dungeon? An annoying one. It's probably not this direction. Yeah, it could be. This was greedy. Sad day. Yeah, well, now we have Star Prism. Oh, right, that's just a follow-up to the... Shit. No, 8 was always like a really interesting game. Honestly, I think it's I probably prefer 8 over like 7. 9's my favorite of the PlayStation generation, but like I really did like Triple Triad. I liked like the idea behind. Oh, look, there's a can of bottle. I like the idea behind what you were doing in 8. Like the fact that everything scales with you. You're never. It's like, you know, especially back then. Especially back then. Like the big thing with like a lot of RPGs is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna out farm this, and Final Fantasy VIII is just like, no, you isn't. You're actually just making the game harder on yourself. So it's better to just be as low level as possible, and that's just something you didn't really see with like games back then. That's very interesting. I appreciate that for it. And of course, did have its flaws. Like I like the junction system for what it does. Like being able to like change your stats and affect things like that. I really enjoy that. But I don't like the fact that it kind of made magic effectively useless, because I'm not using my triples full stop. I'm just not using my triples. They are remaining forever junctioned to my attack. That is my life choice. You suck. Chain of Memories is again like I never played Chain of Memory. Well, I played Chain of Memories like once when I was younger. I didn't like it, but that's probably just because I was younger. And I actually should go back and play it now because I genuinely think I'd enjoy it a lot more because I've just grown to like enjoy card games more in general. I think recently I recently bought the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.5 on that bundle on Steam just because it was on sale and I figured I'd want to replay through those games at some point in the future. Oh, look, another. Aw. I want to be a meatball. You don't see me. Well, I think, like I said, I think it's just a case of like one of the games that just didn't click with me when I was younger, but I think I would actually enjoy it a lot more now if I was to go back and play it. Yeah, because the second game chronologically, if you don't count the phone game. Third, Birth by Sleep exists. So yeah, it'd be the third game chronologically. Again, unless you count the phone games, in which case, good luck. Final Fantasy lore is, or Kingdom Hearts lore is a strange, complicated creature. Oh shit, no items. Okay, I actually have to pay attention. Okay. Oh, there's no reason to check it. There's might be a reason to check it. There was not a reason to check it, but we'll do it anyways. Oh, presumably, I mean, they like Kingdom Hearts, so they're gonna like Kingdom Hearts too, because it's like the best in the series by far. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a phenomenal game. Haste. Honestly, I'm honestly kind of wanting to get like replay the games myself now. It makes sense. I did own them. I will admit, I was disappointed about Kingdom Hearts, by Kingdom Hearts 3. I definitely feel it felt rushed. Like, I like everybody. I didn't really like the carnival things. I prefer summons significantly over them. But I also just didn't like, it just felt like they rushed the story, especially like at the end, like it pushed it. Yeah. Like, it's an incredibly fun game, don't get me wrong. And it has some of my favorite scenes in the series, but it just like, again, it just kind of, it feels like it has succumbed to like modern Square pacing, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't want to do Ranger Trip again. How did you not get triggered, sir? Through all of that, how did I not piss you off? I don't know. I guess like the thing about 3 is like it's one of the things like it's supposed to be the conclusion, but I feel like I came away with more questions than answers. It's just like okay, no. Hmm. That was dumb. I should have known better. That's why you heal before you open chests. Can't believe that just happened. Of all the ways for me to die, that was dumb. No, it's fine. It's 100% my fault. Trust me, I'm significantly more okay with that happening on floor 20 than that happening on floor... No, you did not distract me. That would have happened if I was doing this by myself or not, because I am a very impatient person. Like, there's no excuse for that beyond my own stupidity. Don't worry, I've had someone... I've been cursed far... I have been cursed by somebody. Like, one of my FC mates was watching me when I was doing Palace of the Dead. It's like, yeah, it'd be really funny if you stepped in a cursed or luring trap, and then I immediately step in a luring trap and die. Or no, I think I stepped on a luring trap and then I stepped on another luring trap. We. That was actually on. That's actually VOD of that happening. Curse you, Michia. Oh, I don't have that yet. Oops. So dumb. I'm also just gonna imagine that third one was going to explode too, make it even extra, like, dumbassery. Okay. Thinking not to. Are you going to explode too? No, you're a mace root. Okay, never mind that. Anything in there? Doesn't look like it. We start making our way to the exit. I can't believe that shit happened. Dumb. But again, it's better to get the wipes out early. To be fair, the trend, my history with this play so far has just been dumb. Like all of my, okay, with the exception of like the Cactar, like that has just had my number. Also, the like Minotaur had my number one time. Any death that hasn't happened to like those two bosses has just been dumb. Like me like dying to the one enemy in the game who like can hit you through walls. My first time going through on floor, I made it like my first time. I made it. I want to say to floor 7, something like that. First or second time I did. And like I was doing so well, and then I just die through a wall because it's one enemy in the entire place that can just hit you through a wall because screw me, I guess. And there's some others, but that's the one that sticks with me because it happened so early on. Whoops. Steel. I think deep dungeons are fine. They're just, I kind of wish that there was a bit more to them. Especially, I've been playing a lot of, I forgot to reset my paintings. I've been playing a lot of, Warframe as of late. And it just made me realize, like, Warframe is probably the best live service game when it comes to, sorry, burp. Best live service game when it comes to, like, keeping players engaged. Because fundamentally, Warframe is an incredibly repetitive and should be boring game. You do the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You go to mission, you farm thing, you spend like often like you spend like 60, not 60, like 15, 30 more minutes on, you know, these missions, trying to farm one piece, literally doing the same thing, just surviving, killing enemies. And this is basically just like, I keep forgetting to reset my thing. The core gameplay loop that you're just going to see over and over and over again in many hours in the game, and yet it doesn't get old. It should get old. It should be boring, but it doesn't get boring. And it's just because while it is the same loop, you're basically doing the same things, there are so many different ways and so many different things to fill in the gaps. Like, yeah, you could spend like the next 30 minutes, you know, farming this, this Warframe via like the next 30 minutes, like farming a Warframe via, you know, this mission type, etc, etc, etc. Or you could go do something else, like you could go do Deviri, and get really good weapons each week, or you can go work on, you know, your reputations, like the open world zones, or you could, you know, go do these like daily challenge modes. Or hell, you could go date Emmett Selk because he's voiced one of the characters that you can like do in the dating sim. Yes, there's a dating sim for Warframe, kind of. There's like a handful of characters that like you can have relationships with, and like the newest one, Roth, is voiced by Emmett Selk, which is incredibly funny. And the head behind Warframe is a Final Fantasy fan. Very much a Final Fantasy fan, and they have made it clear that they knew what they were doing when they chose him. Well, I guess my point with the gameplay loop is that yeah, every game has a gameplay loop, but some like handle it better than others. Like, I love 14. It has given me many fun hours over the years, but it very much, and I'm currently like actually working on the process of making my like video going over like my opinions or going over the Dawn Trail just in general, which is why it's on my mind. But final, like, I guess one point that like people like to say is, oh, I wish 14 needs to release more content faster. That's not what people want. Also, I should just read the rest of your thing. People don't want more content faster. They think they want more content faster. They don't want more content faster. What they want is different content that lasts longer. Like, you know, Square could release, or the 14 team could release, you know, Chaotic, Criterion, and, you know, Quantum all at the same time. But that's not going to fix people's problems. It's not going to do what people want, because that's not what they want. You know, people don't want more battle content that just they have to wait in Party Finder or go to a Discord to do. They want more content that they can just log in and do. There's a reason why some of the most fervent communities, or some of the most, yeah, fervent is the right word, communities in 14 are like, not Bostia, Eureka, and the fishing communities. Like, people will spend hours upon hours upon hours doing Bostia. Not Bostia, you gotta keep doing that. Eureka, I enjoyed Bostia a lot. But, and the reason is that there's just so many incentives to do it. I mean, you know, the Eureka armor, you see somebody with that for the first time, you want to get it, and so you set out on your journey to go into Eureka and get it yourself. And then when you get into Eureka, you have to start farming it, you have to level it, you're working ever towards the goal of getting the Eureka armor, and then when you finally get it, then you're like, oh, I like Eureka, I want to get these other things. Like, oh, I can farm this crab to get a cool ring. Well, I'm going to do that. Oh, I can farm Cassie to get like a really like nice earring and maybe a really rare minion. Oh, well, I'm going to do that. And like, though, at least those have like incentives. Like fishing, like, yeah, you get some cool titles, but honestly, most fishers just do it for the love of the game. And the best part about those like pieces of content is that, you know, people that log into people that want to do BOS or Criterion, Eureka, are logging in to do Eureka. They don't have to wait for people to do it. They don't have to, you know, organize. Well, okay, I guess if you're doing like BA, yes, but they don't have to organize or, you know, wait to fill up a PF to do it. They can just like, oh, Cassie's up? Well, I'm gonna go do Cassie. Oh, look, this big fish is up. Time to get up at 3 a.m. Cough, cough, half the FC, cough, cough, certain members of my FC, cough, cough. And it's just, yeah. Well, they're similar, but it's just like, I keep saying Bosja, because I personally have spent significantly more time in Bosja. Like, I have all the dual. The only thing that I haven't completed in relation to Bosja is DRS, and it's just because I always had to make sure I'm saying I had to make sure I'm saying DRS, not DSR, but DRS because I'm not a big fan of going into Discords to do content. But yeah, like, people want more content like that. People want content that they can log in and just do, not content they have to log in and wait on people to do, or something like that. It's part of the reason why people like the why the MSQ is such a big thing. Is, yeah, the story is really good and people enjoy it, but it's also a reason to log in to the game. It's people are getting their money's worth. And like, that's really what I think 14 is lacking. It just needs more content that, you know, gives people a reason to log in. More content that, you know, justifies people's time and their purchase. Like, for example, one thing that I was thinking of in terms of like battle content, because obviously battle content is like a big thing, but, you know, what if, like, again, going back to Warframe has Deviri in the circuit. So what the circuit is each week, basically you get to choose one of 3 different Warframes from all of the Warframes in... Sorry, burping again. All of the Warframes in Warframe. And normally you have to like farm these in specific ways. Like, you know, this one you have to go kill a certain boss. This one you might have to... only drops from like rotation C of survival missions, so on and so forth. Some are easier to get than others. That's the core issue. Well, each week you can choose one of 3 to pick, and if you complete the circuit, you'll get all the pieces for it. It's an alternate way to farm this content, and often it's a lot better way to farm this content. And what Deviri is it's kind of like, it's a roguelike. You go in and you do one of 5 mission types each round, and each round you also get roguelike buffs. For example, your guns do extra critical damage. The more you fire, the more fire rate you get. Enemies take more damage the longer you shoot them, so on and so forth. And you can even find items around each map that gives you extra bonuses like this. And that's an alternate way to farm these things that you wouldn't necessarily normally want to do. It's something else to do each week. I think 14 would really benefit from something like Deviri. Imagine for a second that 14 had this single player mass carnival boss gauntlet, that each round or each boss you beat, you get a lost action. One of boss just lost actions to get, regardless of your job. And so each time you're just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And if you complete the entire boss gauntlet each week, then maybe you get you get a token that once you get, let's say in 3 weeks after you complete 3 different tokens, you can exchange it for any of the extreme mounts, even if it's current. Even if it's current, or maybe not if it's current, but in any of the mounts, like raid or extreme, something like that. It gives people a reason to do the content, because now, this is a single player way for me, to get these mounts that might be more difficult for me to get solo. I can go into Alexander and get those relatively easy, but doing, Omega is kind of difficult. Doing some of the extremes is kind of difficult. Doing Endwalker is going to be difficult for me to do right now. But I can do this for 3 weeks and get these mounts that are really cool. I mean, that'd be a good thing for people to do solo. And again, you can say that you can't do it with current content. That makes perfectly justifiable and things like that. And another thing about the circuit in Warframe is there's also what's called Steel Path, which is a hard mode version of it. And when I say hard mode, I mean it would be the equivalent of Savage, or it'd probably be the equivalent of Savage. Very high. You need specific builds to it. You have to, you can't just go in and do it, and have the easiest time. You're going to be a lot more cautious, a lot more consistent. But the thing is, each week, if you can clear it, with the picking picking between 3 Warframes as your reward, you get to pick between 3 Incarnons, which an Incarnon is just an upgrade for legacy weapons. Basically, you install it into a weapon that you already have, and it massively, massively improves the strength of the weapon, to the point that something might go from being a C tier weapon to A or S tier weapon. That's how powerful these buffs are. And so, there's a reason to do this on the hard mode each week, even if you don't want to do the normal mode. And another example of how this could be done in 14 is using that same example of the roguelike boss rush. Imagine you could do that boss rush each week on Savage difficulty, and you got a token that could be used to exchange for current raid gear, but only for your alts. Which, only for your alts. You couldn't use it on a character that you're actively gearing, but you're still being active. You couldn't actually use it on a character that you're actively gearing. I'm rambling a little bit, but the but's not necessary. In this way, it would make it easier for people to level up, to gear their alts. You don't have to do it, because again, you can't use it to gear your main character, so it's not an extra chore that you have to do each week. It's simply something that lets you, I want to gear, I'm playing White Mage in the tier, but I kind of want to play Caster and other things. Well, now I don't have to make a completely alt character and go through all the MSQ and do all this. Now, and so I can do the raid on a separate character. I can just do this every week and get another piece of gear for a different character, since, they're locked out and things like that. Or you could even make it even just slightly different. But the point is, you're giving players a reason to log in each week, and you're not requiring them to have to, spend hours in PF or, have to go to a Discord. Like, I love Chaotic. Chaotic is like a really great piece of content. I wish the first one was a bit easier. Because I think part of the problem with why people are so reluctant to do it in PF is just because it is so strict. But the problem is, and this might change with the future when it might, having it be actually an extreme difficulty might make it a little more, having it be an extreme difficulty and less punishing for the entire group might make it more plausible for PF. But right now, and the same thing with DRS, yes, DRS and Forge Tower, is that it's Discord content. It's not something that you can just log in and do. And that's honestly, I just think that's kind of like 14's big problem, is that just there's less and less content for people to just log in and do. And rather stuff that they have to plan to do in the future. Rant over. Yeah, the armor's like really good. Realistically, you'll probably see people start doing it again. I'm getting off camera. You'll probably start to see people do it again at the end of the expansion when like content's a little. Yeah, my the RFC lead, our RFC lead has like the Diablos armor. He really likes it because like they all farmed it like really heavily when the it all came out. Like a good few members of the SE have the mounts and the hairs and the whatnot. I should have done it more, but that was kind of when I was playing less. Also, I just didn't like the prospect of sitting in PF for hours just for one person to leave and like the whole thing's kaput. But unfortunately, Chaos, like Cloud of Darkness also might just be, you might have to do it via Discord. But I really liked the fight. The fight was really cool. Like, there's probably Discords that do it. I don't think you'll get it. I don't think you're going to find a static for it. Just because, well, God. A 24 byte person static sounds awful. Just because statics become... Not even statics. Like, the more people you have to manage, the more, like, unbearable it becomes. And it could be, like, here's the thing. It could be all good people. Like, you can have all good people, but it's just like, logistically, it's just become such a pain in the ass. Because, oh, well, you don't want to do, because let's do it this way. Like, old WoW raids used to be like 48 people, or even like 56, I think, at sometimes. And so you had to, like, have your main raiders, but you also had to have like 12 people on the bench that might not get to do the content just because you need them there. Like, they'll re-clears and stuff like that. That was, like, the thing. But you just have to have the backups there because, like, realistically, like, yeah, not everybody's coming. Something is going to happen to somebody, and somebody is going to have to fill in for someone. And it's just, like, that's the core problem with Chaotic, is that really fun content, really interesting content. I like the idea. It makes, it is more of what I want to see, like, for like them doing legacy content, but the issue is just like people, man. The hoarding cats. Sometimes the cats get loose and you have to find a new cat. Enjoy your shower. Boop. 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 Okay. What level am I? I'm halfway there. Come with me, sir. No, but I personally, like, I really do think that Warframe is just 100% like the best example. And this is even for 14. This is just in general, like any game. I think more live service games should look at like Warframe and what it does right. Because the thing is, like, Warframe has been around just as long, if not longer. Okay, I guess there's this up. How old is Warframe? How old is Warframe? Warframe is 12 years old. So, yeah, it's been around just about as much as 13. I'm curious. It's been like... yeah, thereabouts. It's a little younger, but overall, like, just the fact that Warframe has maintained, like, just the, like, again, Warframe, incredibly repetitive game, but it doesn't get old. It's amazing. Like, in general, I'd say outside of like very major updates, like Warframe will introduce like less content than like a WoW or 14 update, but people are gonna play Warframe's content a lot longer than they're gonna play 14's content. And this is true for a lot of games, honestly. A lot of live service games, not just like 14. This is the one I'm talking about. Like, I think to an extent this is true for WoW as well. But like even with WoW, like one thing really nice about WoW is that, yeah, it's like very heavily raid focused, but there is a lot of like reasons to log in. Like a lot of people in WoW are collectors, and you know, they'll log in each week to like, okay, I gotta go run this raid to try to get invincible. I gotta like, okay, I'm gonna go run this raid a few times to try to get this transmog, because, you know, unlike our transmog, WoW's transmog is like a catalog that you can fill in and like progressively collect. Like, hell, even if 14 just got like the WoW catalog where you could have just like a complete list of all the glams in the game, people would spend so much time just trying to fill out that catalog, like trying to get every piece of glam in the game. Let me I'm gonna lower my camera just a little bit. Okay, there we go. How about that? But yeah. That's what I think about the current state of 14 content. Though I will add, actually, so much for me being finished with my point of content. I will add that while this is what I think the problem is, I don't necessarily know the solution. Because like the thing with Warframe is it isn't inherently a multiplayer game, and so it does have more freedom with the content that it introduces. Because by the nature of it 14 being an MMO, there is a certain level of like expectations and requirements they kind of have to meet. I guess that's even not necessarily true. I think there's a lot of ideas that they've had in the past that were good and like perfect examples of what they should have done. They just couldn't, or they just didn't. Like another good example I can think of is, I know Yoshi P has said in the past that he at one point wanted to implement like the older Final Fantasies in to 14 as something you could do. Like Final Fantasy 1 you could play like in the end, like with the other mini games. And like that's a cool idea. That's an idea that I think like a lot of people would enjoy, and it would honestly be something that if they could get away with. I don't think they would be able to get away with it, because I don't think Square is gonna want to let them do that, mind you. I mean, to be fair though, I think like for that, you know, you're paying a subscription for 14. Like sure, let me play like Final Fantasy like Dawn of Souls, but yeah, I say this as a person that owns all of them already, but it's just like that would be a really cool idea. Again, you know, just give people a reason to log in that isn't just like battle content. I think that's another thing, is like all the new content is like just battle content, or it's like a way to level your crafters and gatherers. Like Island Sanctuary was a really cool idea. People were really excited for Island Sanctuary, and it could have been an absolutely amazing piece of content that would have given people so it would have made people so invested into the game if it was what people were actually asking for, but it wasn't. You know, people were excited because they were thinking it was going to be something along like Kingdom Hearts, no, something along the lines of Stardew Valley, you know, Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon, but that's not what it was. It was a spreadsheet simulator, and you know, honestly, if they would, not honestly, but yeah, but if they would have actually did what people wanted, they would have made it this more life simi style thing rather than just this checklist to do each week. That would have been an absolutely phenomenal style of content for the game to have. And because it isn't tied, because the thing is, like, Island Sanctuary wasn't tied to anything. You didn't have to do it for your crafters and gatherers. You didn't have to do it for your battle jobs. It was just a piece of content you could come and do. Like, I honestly think, the more I reflect on it, I really do think that Island Sanctuary was kind of a flop. Because the thing is, the rewards were great, the idea was great, the execution was weak. Like, realistically, if, you know, there was more managing of the animals, not just a case of, like, you had to go do it. You know, if you had to, like, take care of crops, if, you know, like, gathering materials wasn't as tedious as it was. Like, they wanted to go the spreadsheet route, and they wanted to make it like something that you optimize the hell out of, well, then, you know, they should have just made it like, go the Satisfactory route. For those that haven't played Satisfactory, it is a game where you quite literally make factories that you math out the fun, and except it's still fun. But it's all about like production and building factories and things like that to gather resources, things like that. Like, make it so you can automate like gathering these resources rather than just every day you can get so many resources from whatever the hell the thing was called. You know, make it so you're just able to get this like constant thing, like you're able to keep growing. Like, oh, I'm gonna build more and more my things. I'm gonna send out more and more of my shipments to do this. Like, just go full into it. If you're gonna make it a spreadsheet, make it like a thing that people can like fully invest. They're like spend like 30 hours in a 24-hour day, like getting invested into like trying to figure it out. But that's not what you did. Like, it's like, okay, I come here like once a week to like set out all my things, and I'm done. I don't have to feed my animals. I don't have to tend to my crops. Really, I can just make them. I can automate them. But there's like no reason for me to automate them, because there's just no other reason for me to come back to my island. You know, I don't have to, there's no other further like modifications. There's no like constant growth and things like that. Because like, again, it's like, I think part of the reason is they just time gated it. So there's like no reason to check up on it each week. Like, if you had to come back to it like each day to like manage your things, or if there's another great example, like one thing that I said like about Island Sanctuary specifically when it originally came out is like, if there were like fates that you can do in Island Sanctuary, just like tasks that you could do, they'd have to be big thing, like, oh, there's a fishing frenzy, you can go here to get like rare materials, or, you know, get things such and such, or, oh no, these animals are stampeding, you have to go stop them, or, oh no, your mammoths have decided to unionize, you better go bust that. Like, it would just add an extra layer to it. It's like, I don't know, just missed opportunities. Again, 14 doesn't need more content, it needs content that lasts longer. That is my TED Talk. Or rant. I think rant is a more fitting word at this point. Ow. I don't know. I'm really interested to see, because I don't know when the Criterion's coming out, like this patch, but I'm really interested to see how that's going to be handled. because the new Criterion is gonna live or die by like the rewards. Because I genuinely think Criterion can be a. I think Criterion is just an infinitely more interesting piece of content. And infinitely is a strong word, but I like Criterion more as a piece of content for a couple reasons, and the first reason is it's just more accessible. As I was talking with Chaotic earlier, it is a significant. The more people you have to manage, the harder things are to do. Like, yeah, you can't really. It's not as simple to just like log in and get 8 people, but logging in and getting 3, or logging in and get 7 people versus logging in and getting 3 people, a lot easier. Not that hard to do. Even if you're using Party Finder, you know, you could probably find 3 people in like a relatively short amount of time. And so it's just like, yeah, just for that reason, it's like more accessible. It's more realistic that people can log in and do it. They don't have to wait like hours to do potentially do it if it's like content that people are actively trying to play. And especially if it's like a different way to gear your character, and it's like a reason, like a genuine reason for people to do it that isn't just a title. Like, the incentives were like the biggest like factor holding back like Criterion in the original, and like Criterion in Savage was just fundamentally flawed. And like, if the weapons were tied to the normal Criterion, you like for the last one, you would have probably seen so many more people do it because the weapons were really good, but nobody wants to do Criterion Savage. I say that as somebody that tried to do Criterion Savage. We made it all the way to the last fight, and we did it for a long time, but the problem is it's just too punishing, because like one death and you have to start the whole thing over, and it's like just one mistake in the entire fight is just so grueling to the point that it becomes unfun. And that was like the core problem with like Criterion Savage. It just wasn't fun, because it's like literally any time that someone made even the slightest mistake, just the wind instantly left your sails. It was just gone, forgotten, completely abandoned. And yeah, it's just not good. And it's a good thing that they're just abandoning the idea of Criterion Savage and instead reworking it to like normal practice mode Criterion. Because like Criterion itself was fun. Those fights were some of the most fun that I've ever done. Like, genuinely the hardest fight that I have ever done in this game was the second fight of Lola Island, Lala. Like, that fight took me, and the funny thing is, like, the hardest fight in the game that I've ever had to learn. Because as soon as I learned it, it became like the easiest fight in like the entire like Criterions. But just learning and conceptualizing like the turning and things like that was so difficult for all of us. And like, we were all like Savage Raiders, like even cleared ultimates, just like, God, like visualizing this and like, ugh. It would take some adjusting to get used to it if I was winning, if I go back. But the other thing like I would like about Criterion is, or was something else I kind of would want them to do with Criterion is like, you know, I kind of would want them to take the WoW route, and as we get more of them, maybe rotate them out like WoW does with its mythic dungeons. Like, have there be like the current one, the new one that released, and then the like the shit, and then like the yeah, maybe just one that's on rotation. So like, there's a reason to do the older ones beyond just doing them, because I think that is like a problem. Is like, what's the incentive to do this beyond, again, just doing it? So that's my hope of things that are probably not going to happen. Just like every couple of patch, or every patch, just like, okay, well, this month you can, or this patch you can do, you know, blah 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 for your like weekly rewards, or you can do this for your weekly rewards. It's like, okay, so I don't have to do the same thing every week. If I'm like getting gear from this, I have options. And yeah, that's kind of what I want them to do. I don't expect them to do that, unfortunately, but it's what I would want them to do. Because again, I like Criterion. I want to see more of it. I might try to do. I'm kind of taking a break from high-end content, but I'm probably gonna try to do the Criterion when it comes out. I don't think it's out yet. Pretty sure that comes out later. I should have got hit there. Just like I'm probably gonna get hit here. Yep. Oh. Yes, I didn't. Okay. Come on, you lot. Get to our moving. Over here. Jump, jump, jump. Go over here. Immediately go into this, and then we're good. And then we get the rainbow. I'm also just excited for like the FanFest announcement because apparently we're getting something big at FanFest, and who knows, it could change. You know, I'm gonna clarify something. It might sound like I'm being doom and gloom about Dawn Trail, but I'm really not. Like, I do think I always went into Dawn Trail expecting it to be on the weaker side, especially from like a story standpoint. Like, I knew that Dawn Trail was gonna be like lacking in the story department, like compared to like the previous expansion, solely for the fact that's just how stories work. You know, we just finished. Shadowbringers was the climax of the Highland Zodiac story, and Endwalker was the closing, the falling action. I'll get there eventually. Was the falling action and the conclusion, which meant that Dawn Trail had to always start in that introduction role, which is the lowest point, along with the conclusion of any point of a story. It was never going to be this grand tale. It was never going to be the Shadowbringers. It wasn't even going to be a Heavensward. At best, it was an ARR and maybe a Stormblood, and it was not at best. It was not at best. Because it definitely, because it, like, the problem is, it is an introductory story. Like, that's its whole point. It is supposed to like move us into the next chapter of our story, and it does that. It just, like, as much crap as people give ARR, like, ARR was a phenomenal foundation for the rest of the story. It set up so much. Like, it set up Alamigo, it set up Ishgard, it set up, you know, the Asians, the Crystal Tower, the Alamigo conflict. It just set up a lot. I should somewhat focus. I should be able to just kill you, right? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be back. Yeah, I'll be right back. I don't know why I said it like that. Okay. I returned. Back into 20 players. Even though I should be fun for 40 at this point because I am a, let's just say, a dumbass with a capital D. An emphasis on the ass. I guess the emphasis would be on the dumb. Hence the point proven. Okay. Die. Any better ways I could have done that? No, screw you. That's the Star Prism. Meteor. And then just single target. Okay. But yeah, if it isn't clear, I'm happy to be fair. I mentioned it earlier. Part of the reason that my opinions are so, like, I guess passionate, we're gonna use passionate instead of ranty, is because I am currently like working on a video, my Dawn Trail video. I've been putting it off for a while now, but I think now is the best. Oh, that's the thought I was gonna have. I'm sorry, I completely, because before I left, I had another thought. But yeah, that's what happened. I'm working on the video, and so that's like that's why I've been thinking about these things a lot lately. But yeah, so I always knew Dawn Trail was gonna like be kind of weak. It was going to be weak in the story department, and it, to be fair, is weaker than I thought it was going to be. I didn't, because realistically, I said this in like previous thing, but Dawn Trail is probably, like, in terms of its story, I'm talking about the story, it's probably my least favorite expansion. Like, I prefer ARR more. And that would be the next lowest later, because at least, and to be fair, there is an extent of this, like, oh, we don't know the full extent of what's being set up here, but, you know, it's very easy to look at, like, ARR, even without this perspective of what would come next, and, like, you just know that, okay, there's so many questions that the game, like, I'm asking, like, what the hell's an Alamigo, what the hell's an Ancient, what the hell's going on with Crystal Tower, are we going to see a Graha again, so on and so forth, with that. But, like, I think most other expansions, I would say ARR, I would put at 8, and that would be my previous lowest. Whereas Dawn Trail, I would say, is probably a 7. I'm not gonna go full like, oh my god, it's a 5 out of 5, like, or it's a 5 out of 5. No, it's a 5 out of 10. Bad. I'm not going that far. It's just my least favorite of the expansions. Like, I think it is definitely a weaker story than what we've seen. I think it is made a lot of mistakes, but thing is, unlike other people, I'm not gonna, well, this is 24 seconds that I get to spend talking. Unlike other people, I'm not gonna say that, oh, this is like the death of Final Fantasy, this is where truly things go downhill. So, no, that's not what I think. What I think, and again, I'll expound on this, no, I'm just gonna say what I'm saying. What I think is that, you know, after Endwalker, they were kind of in this awkward position where they had to set up the next chapter of the story, and it's like, not really an easy thing to do. And so I think they had the idea, again, this is all speculation, but I think they had the idea of where they wanted to go next with the story in terms of like the key and like potentially like, again, this is going to be speculation if you haven't caught up with the story, spoilers in 3, 2, 1. The key and like the potential corruption of like the other shards is, I guess, how we're interpreting the latest patch and things like that. And like, so I think they have always had that idea, like the key, the core idea of the key. But the problem is, and by extension, Solution 9 and everything going on there. But what I think the problem is that they didn't really have an idea of how to get to that revelation. And so what I ended up, when I think the result of that is the Rod of Succession. Um, because Dawn Trail's like, I think biggest problem is it just feels disconnected. Like, realistically, the Rite of Succession honestly doesn't have that much of an impact on the overarching story. I mean, because let's think about it. Uh, you know, if Kona would have won, probably also maybe would have considered making Wuklamot the second in chair. I mean, like, would things really have changed if Wuklamot or if Kona won? Would things really have changed? If really the only one that would have changed would if it would have been Bakojaja, because if Gulusha or Zorulja would have won, he would have still used the key, would have had his whole army, and we as the Warrior of Light and his sister still would have stopped him. So, like, we still would have been in conflict with him. It wouldn't have mattered. It doesn't matter that he won. The dad would have probably stopped him too. So it still would have been, you know, still would have probably been like the same thing. Again, the Rite of Succession honestly didn't matter that much. And so it just feels so disconnected. And like, I think the epitome of this is like Shioni. Like, Shioni really does feel like they just duct tape. It's the duct tape that holds the two storylines together. It's not the prettiest thing it's not the prettiest fix in the world. It's not the best fix in the world, but it gets the job done. And I just think that's kind of the problem. So I think like the Rite of Succession is the story that they came up with to introduce the area that they introduced the area of the story they wanted to tell, because they couldn't just go right into Cloud9. Cloud9, that is a pro esports team. They couldn't just go right into Solution 9, so they needed something else to lead into it. But it just doesn't feel like they had a really good idea to go in from that lead to the story they wanted to tell. But now that they have gotten that little bit of building set up, and they have gotten past the hurdle that is establishing the new story, I do think things are going to get a lot stronger. I do believe that the next expansion will have a far better story. Because, again, we've left the awkward land of introductions, presumably. And now we get to go into the fun land of rising actions. We get to go into the Heavenswards, the Stormblood. Okay, not the Storm. I'm not going to use Stormblood. People will have Stormblood has negative connotation. But we have Heavensward, that rising action after after the core idea has been set up, after, you know, the conflict has been made somewhat clear. We'll get the rest of the resolution like next patch, but you get my point. So yeah, I do think that the next expansion is going to have a far better story. To what extent, I don't know, because we don't know what the next expansion is going to be. But it is not, just by the very nature of it not being bogged down by the by the requirement that is an introduction and an establishment of the next generation of the story. It just has more time to it just has more time to, you know, more time to ruminate, more time to breathe, more time to just be itself, you know. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know. Only the future will tell, and we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, the general like reception to the latest patch 7.4 was incredibly well received. People enjoyed the story far better. I myself enjoyed the story far better. I do think it was like by far a massive step up from like the writing that we've seen everywhere else in the expansion. Like, I was fine with all the post-patch. I don't know the words. I think just in general, like the post-patch has been far better, like writing in general. And I honestly, I think the other thing to my point of it being disconnected and them just kind of feeling like the Rite of Succession feeling forced is, I think most people agree that when we got to Solution 9 is when the story's writing really started to improve. Because I've always like had this point that Solution 9 was the story they wanted to tell. The Rite of the Succession was the story they had to tell. It was the reason they had to give to get us to here to the continent. But that's basically it. But yeah. So I have, hope for the next. I have hope for the next expansion in terms of its story. My bigger concern, and Yoshi P has said that we're gonna get these great changes. And again, unlike other people, it's like, oh yeah, the 14 devs never do anything. So that's such a BS. 14 devs do give us what we ask for. They do it quite often. It might take them might take them just a little bit, but they do listen. They do eventually give us what I want. And like this idea that they only listen to the Japanese players, it's like, I mean, Criterion was like primarily a Western fan thing. Chat bubbles were primarily a Western fan thing. It's like, do the Japanese players get like preferential treatment? Probably, but it's not to the extent that I think people try to make it out to be when it comes, at least when it comes to content. Like, yeah, the whole DDoSing thing is like, oh yeah, maybe if it was a Japanese problem, we'd get a faster solution. But I think they are hearing our complaints. Son of a bitch, is my point. But yeah, I think I went on a tangent within my tangent. But no, my biggest hope for the next expansion is less so to do with the story, because again, I think the story is going to be fine. But I really, really do think that the idea of job identity needs to be addressed. And like I said earlier, I do think that the game just needs more longevity content. It needs more reasons for it needs more reasons for players to log in. Content that isn't just I schedule this with friends. It's I log in because I want to do this. We need more fishing conceptually, like just something that people want to do and want to work towards, and less like, okay, so what demon do we have to sell our soul to get 24 people together at the same time and complete content in a reasonable amount of time? And again, I like Chaotic. I think Chaotic is an absolutely phenomenal piece of content. Nobody's doing it. And also, I think it's generally a piece of content that most people agree is incredibly good. Well received. People liked it. Nobody's doing it. Because it's not something... Well, it's just like the first one was kind of hard, and conceptually it makes it difficult to do, but it's just not something you like. Again, I'm gonna keep saying this point. It's just not something you can log in and do, like fishing or Eureka. Level are we? 99. We're almost to the max. Let us not explode ourselves through chests again, ideally. Hopefully. Ugh. We just make sure, look at things, everything working. Everything is, in fact, working. No. I am full. The power of ball compels you. The power of explode. Please don't explode me again. In fact, I am going to wait right here so I don't need to explode it again. But yeah. That is my thoughts on the situation with the Dawns of Trails. I'm hopeful for the future. I really want them to lean more into stuff. I guess other reasons I'm hopeful for the future when it comes to Dawn Trail is the fact that they did experiment with how, like, different ways to handle quests with, like, 7.3, like the puzzle, the mini puzzles and things like that. I think that was a really good step forward, and I hope that that's not a one-time thing. I fear that it might be a one-time thing, but I hope it's not. I hope that they really do try to do different types of content or different types of styles for the quests, and kind of move away from the go here, talk to X. My other hope is that My mind went blank. My other hope is oh, agency, more player agency. Like, you know, I I really liked they actually had us do things in a cutscene, not once but twice. Um, like the fact that we did it in 7.3, the fact that in the raid series, I didn't expect our grand finale, like at the end of the raid, and I was very pleasantly surprised by it. And I want to see more of that, and I hope that we see more of that. And if we do, I think things could see a massive change. In fact, if we play a more active role, like that in itself could like really elevate the MSQ. Hell, if we played an active role and if we played more of an active role and they made us do different types of things for the content, I think that would really elevate the MSQ. I mean, even going back to Dawn Trail, like a lot of people pointed out that, you know, why didn't we have like a duty for like the train? And like imagine if we do get like a full on like on the rails like shooter, like did you guys shoot to kill or whatever the hell that mini game in the Gold Saucer is called. Like imagine if it was just that, like doing more of that just in itself would be such a massive improvement for the MSQ, and I think people would be incredibly happy with it. And that's just what I think they need to be. Whoa. Healing is turned off. So yeah. Okay. Oopsie. Bang. You're gonna make me kill him, aren't you? Yes, you sure are. At least you die fast. And kaboo! Wait, what the hell? Oh. I hate it when it does this crap. It's just like, oh yeah, you killed all the enemies. Not enough of them. What do you mean? I killed them all! Not enough of them. There we go. Wait, what the hell? Oh, it's behind the big rock. I was really confused. Okay. It is incredibly sad we've been going for 2 hours and I'm only almost on the floor 20. I should be on floor 40, but I'm a dumbass. It's fine. This is I haven't played 14 long enough that I had to re-up my subscription tonight, so I'm giving myself a little leeway. I'm not as upset at myself as I would have been normally if I had made that dumb of a mistake. Though I do still think I'm a fracking idiot. Oh, you just died. Fair enough. Purification. And Fortuna. You have received a message from Fortuna. God, I'm making a lot of Warframe references today. It's a good game. And it really, like I said, it's a good game, and it has like all the solutions that I think 14 needs. Like seriously, imagine if they gave the 14 players a dating sim. Like, good God, people would never complain again. I would never use that, mind you, but people would lose their minds. Shit. Ah. They need to give us Blitzball. That's the real solution. We need Blitzball. Blitzball! I mean, to be fair, we might get a Blitzball job. That's what I think what we need a range DPS now. We get caster this time. We got melee last time. So yes, we're in the mood for a new range DPS this time around. Or wait, no. Yeah, we always get a DPS. So it's going to be, the new jobs should be a range DPS and a tank. I have no clue what the tank... Well, unironically, I think Blitballer would be a good job. I would enjoy it if we got a Blitballer. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what other range job we could get. Other like, there's like, I guess it depends on where we're going. Because like, there's like pirate, there's cannoneer. Cannoneer is just like kind of both of those are just kind of too close to machinist. I guess what ranged weapon would you like really use? And they had chakrams. I mean, yeah, just don't really know. The range, like, I genuinely, I think Blitballer makes the most sense, like, range-wise, because there's, like, not a ball weapon. And it's, like, similar to anything else. It'd be something new. In terms of tank, honestly, I genuinely think, like, Geomancer would be a really good, like, tanking job. Especially since, like, you kind of already... Geomancer would be a really good job for the sole fact that it would be, like, a really good reason to bring Gaia back into the story because she's effectively a Geomancer in many ways. She uses a name, or she uses a hammer, her name is Gaia, she's literally tied to the earth. I mean, yeah, she, like, uses darkness and stuff, but, I mean... in time, and, like, it doesn't fit with, like, what she actually does as a character because she manipulates time. But let me have my dream, okay? I don't have to do this. Why am I murdering you? Serenity. What other, like, potential, like, tank-y jobs could we get? Like, Geomancer works because, like, hammers make sense as, like, a stereotypical, like, tank weapon. We have sword, we have great swords, we have sword and shield, we have gunblade. What else? Like, what else in terms of, like, a tanking job could we get? I'll be honest with you, I don't know. Because, like, yeah, I just don't know. Like, Geomancer makes the most sense just because hammers, but, like, what else? I mean, I guess for range, you could have, like, a chemist as, like, another range support. Like, they give buffs and throw potions and stuff like that. That could work. Like, darts. Oh, Gambler. Gambler could be a range job that would work. Throwing dice or cards. But yeah, I don't know beyond that, honestly. I think tank is unironically the harder of the two to, like, guess. It's just I don't know what, like, weapon you would use for tanking that hasn't already been used. Yeah, no, I'm drawing. I am drawing a blank. But I'm excited nonetheless. Seeing the new jobs is always fun. And honestly, I think there's a lot of there's a lot of weight behind jobs this next expansion. Because I think that is by far one of the biggest complaints people have right now is this growing tired with the current way that job design is handled and specifically job identity. People want more. People want their jobs to feel unique. People don't want to feel like they're just playing a different skin for the role rather than, you know, playing the... Yeah, and people don't want to play a role, they want to play a job. That's the best way to put it. Like, the general sentiment about how jobs feel right now. Honestly, I think the best example of it is probably tanks. I feel like fundamentally tanking as a role is just very uniform. Like there is no, in the actual like tanking side, there is like no difference between the three outside of like, you know, party mitts. I mean, yeah, Dark Knight has slightly better like magic resistance because it's like Dark Mind, and like is better, but and it is better into magical parties and things like that. But really, like the biggest thing is like, oh yeah, Gunbreaker kind of sucks when they have to move the boss. That you know, Paladin is like really good. Well, it's just like for me, my thing is what I'd want them to do with tanks is just change how tanking works for the different tanks. Like, I think I've talked about this before, but because right now it's literally just like every tank uses their big mitt, every tank uses their small mitt. And it's just like, fundamentally that's how tanking works. Like, you have your invuln, like there's no difference in how you actually mitigate damage as a tank, really. Like, the most interesting is like Blackest Night. Like you break Blackest Night is the most interesting thing with tanking because it like punishes you because you have to like be like on point with it to or you lose damage. But like I brought it up before, but it's like imagine if like instead of like having just actual mitt, Dark Knight just got like took damage over time, and instead of mitting the damage, you just have a ways to alleviate the dot that you've been inflicted with. That's like always been my idea of how I'd want them tanks. Because I look at like WoW and think about how WoW does tanking, and it's just like you have Brewmaster Monk that does exactly what I'm talking about. Like they don't really have many mitigations. Instead, they like take damage over time, and then they can just like expel the damage over time. And then you have like Paladin who just like doesn't take. They like either do a lot of like self-healing or they just literally have they have Holy Ground. They just have Holy Ground as like a tank cooldown. And then you have like Warrior who does like the mitts, and like I think you have Demon Hunter is an evasion tank and things like that. It's like you're not just tanking in one way. There are like they actually are different like just different like actual ways of tanking. It's like I like that idea. Though I haven't tanked in a while. It's really I've like not in high-end content, so I don't know the full extent of it. So I might be talking about of my ass. But yeah. I like the idea. And it's honestly, it's a similar thing with like healers in WoW too. It's like they all play very, very differently from one another. I'm an idiot. And it's just like, yeah, I just want to see jobs have more identity. I want each one to feel incredibly unique and not just kind of flavors of the same thing. Like, while people used to... I say people. I loved Old Summoner. That's just because I like dots as a job. Like Old Summoner was very fun. Managing the dots and the 2-minute rotation was hard to optimize, but it was fun. It was incredibly unique. There was no other job like Summoner. And to be fair, and like it's just kind of been, and now it is just kind of like more of the same. Like you do X, Y, Z, you repeat. Do X, Y, Z, you repeat. And I think that's kind of the problem in many ways that the game is suffering with in terms of job design. It's just like, because, and I've talked about it before again, but like there's the problem of like they can't make jobs too complicated. Otherwise they have to make fights easier or less complicated. And that's also not what people want. So it's like, I don't want them to make jobs harder. I want them to make them more unique. Like, for example, with, like, Sage, I really wish they would have... Like, a big selling... Oh, this might be a little dangerous. A big selling point to Sage when they originally released is like, oh, you can deal damage and you can heal and do damage. I wish they would have leaned far more into that. Like, I wish, like, Scholar did more... I wish Scholar's, like, pet. I wish the fairy actually did something, rather than just kind of being there. And again, there is like the issue of balance, right? Like, say, like, you know, you could have it where like Sage is like the really okay. I need to actually somewhat focus for this bastard, but you can have it so like Sage is like the job that is like really good for like single target healing in terms of like the shield healers, but like Scholar is the one better for AoE healing. Like imagine that the Fairy just like did, or like Celine did like more AoE healing rather than just like single target healing like Euphrasia. Something like that. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm not a game dev. I don't know how to make balancing magical or balanced. But I just want my jibs to be more unique. The thing is, like, because I played WoW during midnight, and like, and to be fair, I don't think the balancing was that bad. But like, the one thing that always like kind of sucks about WoW is that like, WoW has, I'm not gonna say shit. Ah, shit. Like the problem with WoW is like the combat is actually very interesting. I really do enjoy it because it is very unique and different from 14. And I genuinely do recommend like anyone that likes 14 to try both MMOs, not because one is better than the other, but because they are very different experiences, and it just gives you a more unique perspective in the same way that a lot of WoW players got a unique perspective coming to 14 for the first time, because I think understanding both games lets you better see how both games can be improved. But you know, the nice thing about 14 is that all the jobs, for better or worse, are incredibly balanced. Like everything is always viable, unless you're at the beginning of the expansion where the only like caster you can play was Pictomancer, but we don't talk about that. Shit. Shit. I am being bad. You're not gonna let me do that, are you, buddy? You're barely gonna get one off, let alone two. That. 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 Okay. Okay. There we go. Oh. But yeah, game balance is a thing that exists that is beyond my comprehension. Well, not beyond my comprehension, but above my pay grade, I guess is the better way to say it. That's not even a hard boss, but I just, if I don't pay attention, I will not notice those knockbacks, and I will go into the soup. And going into the soup was no good. That soup hurts. I think we'll do 10 more floors. Which I'm going to remind, if I wasn't a dumbass, we'd be in 450 tonight. We're just instead we're going to be at 430. Because I had to do 20 extra floors because I had to open 2 chests back to back. Something, something, sin, something, something, greed. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. It doesn't matter, really, but sure. Is that an explosion trap? It is an explosion trap. Okay, she's healing me. I got really worried something targeted me when I did that. Thanks, game. So the Theron name was I used to very simple story to it. I used to go by the Honored Mage, and then I decided to give that character a name, and that name I just looked up I looked up a name for T, a name for, or I never looked up a name. How's it going? Not the weather around here. I looked up I just looked up names for T, and I looked up I knew it was going to be Magus. I just looked up a name for T that worked right, and Theron was the one that I enjoyed. So technically, the character's full name is Theron H. Magus. Yeah. It's just what I went by for a long time on the internet. After I got out of my much more cringy like TF2 phase, where I had a name that I will. Let me put it this way: I'm never gonna say what that name is. But if you ever like hear my best friend talk to me, like I'll sometimes call me Southern, and that's because that goes back to my original like online name that all my oldest internet friends know by, and I will never like reveal the full extent of that name. And the name Ponzi is just self-explanatory. Hi. There. Shit. Yeah. That's the joke. Well, originally what happened was, so it's named after our FC tag, and basically we were the Nasty Namazus, so it was just, we did a poll to see what we wanted our tag to do, because for the longest time it was, I think for a while it was Gil, as in, you know, GIL as in money, but also the double entendre of, oh yeah, we're fish. And then for a while I think it was fish, but with a PH. And then we just decided Ponzi after we did a poll. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, they're all good. I think that was mine. I think that, yeah, I think the Gil one was my idea. I don't remember who the fish one was. And Ponzi was, we did, for the pond, we did a, like I said, we did a poll, and we just had people submit their ideas, and the FC, everybody in the FC submit their ideas, and then we took the ones that got the most votes, and then put them in a separate poll for, or no, we took all the ideas that were interested and put them in a poll, and then let people vote on which one they liked the most, and Ponzi was the one that won. It was in that first room. Oh, it was an intuition. I don't care that much, honestly. I will pick up the, we'll go ahead and use the Serenity though. Mr. Hesitance! Okay. Well, that earlier intuition doesn't matter because here's the other one. I was about to say, are you gonna make my ass go back to that room anyways? But no. It is being a kind, caring Mr. Dungeon as I dash into Alluring. Oh, I fully expected to actually dash into Alluring. Okay, the game is actually being kind to me. Oh, I don't have to go over there. I guess I could go back, activate another intuition just so I can get more. I don't care enough. I don't think the rewards this early on are worth it. I don't believe so, at least. What the hell are you doing to me, Mr. Game? Oh, that could be worse. That could be a lot worse. Ugh. Over here. Well, we have the exit. I'm an idiot. I meant to switch. I meant to switch between each one with each hammer swing, and all I did was tab to the same one 3 times. I'm an idiot. J idiot. No, don't do that. That's bad. That is not good for my health and safety. I'm like 90% sure that ability kills you. My Blue Mage videos have taught me anything, at least. What the hell are you, Mr. Test? You're a witching. Okay. Nothing too amazing. Do we have any yet? Silver chest. It's always worth checking. Services. Nothing. Services. Nothing. I think I'd be more cautious with those silver chests because the ring guy exploded last time, but we've already had the talk about how I'm not smart. Whee! These floors are going pretty fast. Might do another 10. Oh, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when we end. For the record, it is not recommended that you dash through the middle of a room. That is a very bad idea. I do not recommend it. I'm not going to stop doing it because I am a dumbass, but not FDA approved. And this should do this, that, which lets us do this, which lets us do this, which I did not need to use this hammer. But we have a friend coming in anyways. Oh shit. Please don't do it to me. 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 Okay, he did not get the chance to do it to me. That's why we don't open, like, strange chests. Oh, that's convenient. Getting good pace. Woo! Oh, shit. What are you doing to me this time? Ugh, don't like that. It's honestly not that bad. Ain't great. It ain't that bad. Nah. Again, the floors in this place don't really start getting dangerous till 6th day. Something like that. It's that first serpent that sucks. Ooh! Free floor. Which means I should both alteration and affluence the next floor. You died. Nothing in there of note. Whee! Smudge has to be one of the most fun movement abilities in the game. You suck. You suck. No, you don't. Don't target that. Don't target the nice lady. All right. I was like, what's that sound? But we transformed. Oh, look, it's the mimics. All right. This is an AoE. Kaboom! Cap. Boom. I need to play more Wind Waker. I have it, I have an idea to, like, do, I have a capture card. So I do have an idea to play. It was one of my first games. I absolutely love Wind Waker. It's one of my favorite games all the time. But I have a capture card, so I've been thinking about streaming some Switch games, Switch online games on my Switch 2. Because I just released Path of Radiance, and I've somehow never played a Fire Emblem game. I played Tactics, I played XCOM, never played Fire Emblem. So I think playing like Path of Radiance, which I've heard only good things about, would be a good, interesting idea. I don't necessarily know if I'd do a full like playthrough of it on stream, because I don't know if like tactics games are like good stream games, because it's like there's a lot of I guess it would be funny to like get my ass into by crits and stuff like that, because I think that's the thing in those games. But I don't know. I also the idea of like just like doing a wheel to like spin the online games and like trying it out. It was you suck. It was my first. Well, it wasn't my first it was the first console that was mine. Like growing up, I played the N64, the SNES, the NES, because my grandmother had them. And I remember I have a lot of memories of watching like my uncle play Ocarina of Time. But the GameCube was the first console that was actually mine, not somebody else's. And the first games that I got from it would be, I remember like the games that I had for it, like when I first got it, were Jimmy Neutron and the Attack of the Something or What's, Pokemon Coliseum, Wind Waker, and Sunshine, maybe. I know I had all those games, the order in which I got them. Maybe Smash Bros. Those are all games I remember owning and having. The thing that I remember about Wind Waker specifically is, like, as a kid, I could not, for the life of me, I could not. Let me move my ankle. I couldn't do the jumping puzzle on the ship, either of them, but like especially like the first one, when you're trying to like join Tetra to go to the Forsaken Fortress for the first time. So I had to have my uncle do it for me, and I couldn't do the jumping, that little rope swinging section in the ship, but I could do the entire Forsaken Fortress as a kid. There were like a lot of like things like when I was a kid where it's just like I don't know how I was able to do this but not that. Like another, like, it still boggles my mind to this day that I was able to beat Final Fantasy III when I was a little lad, but I just don't know how I had the patience for it, man. Yeah, the DS one. Because I think Final Fantasy 3 for the DS was, not counting Pokemon, was my first RPG. That sounds right. It's either that or Final Fantasy 10. But I want to say it was 3. The actual, yeah, the DS was 3, so yeah, the actual 3. I just realized, like, oh yeah, American naming conventions. Yeah, I don't know how I did it. I look back and I'm like, how? Like, there's like, I just don't, I don't know how. Genuinely. I could barely beat Coliseum. Actually, I don't even think I did beat Coliseum. I think I got my ass handed to me by Raiko. I don't know what the hell a stab was. Or a, like, competent party comp. Whee! Another interesting, like, story from my youth is... I couldn't, for the longest time, beat The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Because I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to get the boss key in the first dungeon. Because I like, okay, so I knew that I had to hit all 4 of, like, the fans to open the gate to get the boss key with the boomerang. The problem is I wasn't much of a reader, so I didn't read the part where the game said, oh yeah, you can, like, target with Z to, like, lock onto multiple options. So I spent, like, almost an hour just trying to line up the perfect shot that would hit all 4 of them, and I just couldn't do it. And then, like, I came back half a year, and I'd actually started reading in games, and good lord, that is a treasure room. And yeah, no, it turns out I'm just a dumbass. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to use that exactly right there. Yeah, I enjoyed I really, like, love both the Colosseums, the Colosseum and XD. I wish they did more of them. Really goes to prove the point that the best people at making Pokemon is anyone but Game Freak. I played the Wii version. Yeah, I played the Wii version. Which is also... which is also why I, like, really struggled with the, We've learned our lesson. I'm not opening that chest for a few seconds. Which is also why I've learned, or I struggled so much with the, I'm glad I didn't open that chest. I just knew it was going to do that shit. I struggled with the, there's a section after the Death Mountain where you have to escort the, after you do the 3rd light where you're escorting the Zora child back to Kakariko Village, and you have to stop the carriage from being caught on fire and shoot the guys off the, like, their boars with, like, the bow. And the problem is I didn't know that I could just Z target with the bow to shoot them, so I was, like, trying to hard aim with the Wii's motion controls, and this was before Wii Motion Plus. So it's just like I would not go with aiming. I struggled so much with that because, good God, I could not hit the broadside of a barn. And, like, the thing that people don't understand about Pokemon is, and to be fair, a lot of it is just people don't like Nintendo, and so it's like, Game Freak, but it always annoys me. Oh, hi, friends. When people are like, oh, wow, Pokemon sucks. This is Nintendo's fault. Wow, geez, Nintendo's making a game like this, and it's just like, no, it's Game Freak. What people don't realize is that technically Pokemon's second party. It's not actually first party. Like, Nintendo owns the publishing rights to it. But Game Freak owns, like, the development rights to it, because both Game Freak and Nintendo own parts of the Pokemon company. So it's like, That's why Game Freak can make other games for different companies. They're technically not a first party company. Um, or it's not even technically, they're just not a first party company. They're second party or third party. I don't know if it was. I think so, because it was made by. And I think it was. Because was that HAL? It's made by a Nintendo veteran for them. I want to say it is. I could be wrong. But, like, yeah, HAL Labs. I think HAL Labs was, but it's hard to say. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I think it is. Like, Nintendo was pretty big about like keeping its talent in house back then, especially. It's really only later that they started embracing really only like the Wii era where they really started embracing like second party and stuff. Second and third party. So it was like that was like a big criticism for Nintendo for the longest time. But my point with like Pokemon though is that what people don't realize is that, yeah. Oh shit! Right? No, it's that he does that and then he does this. Is that, yeah? Pokemon is technically second party, and Nintendo doesn't really have much say over the development of the games. Like, they don't fund them. That all the funding comes from the Pokemon Company, and the Pokemon Company doesn't really invest that much money into them. Just because they make they make all their money from merchandising and stuff, so they don't really honestly care about the games, which is a shame. But yeah, there's a reason. Like there's a reason why, like, you know, as much as we joke, why like every company that isn't Game Freak makes better Pokemon games than Game Freak is because when other companies are given like the chance to, you know, play with the IP, it's just like Game Freak are kind of not the best developers. Like, and people are like, oh, it's an excuse of like, oh, they don't have a budget. And it's like, well, I mean, look at they announced, I think any other game that they made that isn't Pokemon hasn't done well. And they like recently announced their like new game, and it just like, it had like the FPS of like 2. And it's just like, eh. I mean, that's... I mean, to be fair, that's just kind of Persona and SMT. Shit. I do have to somewhat pay attention to this fight. But yeah. Because the thing about Nintendo is that they do have a very high standard of quality assurance, like to the point that it's been noted by developers to be kind of annoying. But they also, like, they have very high quality assurance, so they don't want to let their something ruin their name, so they will be very protective and very like on point. Like, there's a reason you don't really generally see that many like bad, like broken Nintendo games release. It's because it's just like, if they're letting you develop something in house, or even if you're, yeah, if they're paying for something, they're making sure you're doing it right. At least in terms of like it running. But the other thing is, like, Nintendo is like really good about, like, they will, if they're like funding a project, they invest, like, they do invest. Like, the best thing I can talk about is like with Monolith Soft. Like, Monolith Soft had a very rough history of being always behind schedule and having to constantly cut content. And, you know, when it came to Xenoblade, they had very similar things. They were incredibly behind schedule to the point that Takahashi, started trying to come up with things they could cut. He went to their Nintendo rep, and then was saying, okay, yeah, look, we can cut this and this and this and this to meet like the deadline. Yeah, like these are all the cuts that we can make to meet the deadline that's been set for the game. And then Nintendo rep just straight up told him, dude, doesn't matter. Just take the time. You don't have to cut anything. Make the project you want to make. Like, that is one thing. Like, Nintendo, very crappy company when it comes to like interacting with the community. Like, they kind of hate their fans, but like, you couldn't ask for a better company to work for, because they do like genuinely care about their developers. It's very rarely, they almost never lay off people. Actually, I can't think of a time they did lay off people. Hell, one of the most famous stories revolving around Nintendo is the fact that Iwata took a pay cut to avoid laying off people after the Wii U flopped. So yeah. It's just a damn shame that they hate the fans. It's not, well, to be fair, it's not even that they hate their fans. They're just... Nintendo is so painfully traditionalist, is like really their problem. Like, the people out, Nintendo's greedy. They never want to put their games on sale. Yeah, I miss Iwata. Like, Nintendo's greedy. They never want to put their games on sale. It's not... They don't put their games on sale not because they're greedy. It's because they're so obsessed with, like, image. And this actually does go back to Iwata. Like, what people don't realize is that Iwata is part of the reason that they don't put their games on sale. Because it's one of those things where Nintendo does not want their games to be seen as low quality. They don't want their games to have a bargain bin price on them. I'm glad that I helped, and yeah, I'm glad my gods can help you. And yeah, I'm like forever required to keep that white mage glam. I don't think I can ever change it. Because yeah, but going back to my Nintendo thing, it's like, it's not the point of the sales. It's not the point of they don't want to, give discounts on their games because they want more money. It's that they don't, there's this like idea that they made this so it need like quality. They made this so we're going to sell it for what it's worth. And if we discount it, then we're saying that it's not as good of a product, that it's not as worth it, that it's not worth that full price. It goes like even to the fact that like, Reggie had to basically pull teeth to get them to release like Wii Sports free. And no, you're fine. You're fine. I've been ranting all night. You're perfectly fine. Do not feel bad about like coming in. Like if I wanted to be a dick and ignore you, I could have been a dick and ignore you. I'm just too nice of a person. I'm so freaking stupid. But where was I at? Where I went and did dumb? Oh, but it's just one of those things where, like, recently there was like there was like the handbook thing for Switch 2, and the fact that they're paying for like $2. Like, oh yeah, we worked on this, we put effort into it, we feel like you need to pay for it. It's just, it's not that. It's just this kind of, it's just this backwards like traditionalist mentality. It's basically like telling Grandpa, like, I worked for what I did, I get paid for it. It's like that. It's like, well, you can give to charity. No, I worked for it, no charity. It's just like, again, it's like Nintendo's not a greedy company. They're just a company that refuses, or yeah, they're just kind of a company that refuses to get with the times. They're so like rigid, incredibly rigid. Yeah. And I think part of that is just like a part of it is like old Japanese culture too. And like the history behind it. There is a reason why like Reggie genuinely like pulled teeth a lot when he was working with the company. to get them to do a lot of things is because it's like there's this culture shock. Yeah, they're locked in old tradition basically. Like, yeah, Reggie's book is a. If you ever want to see something interesting, just read Reggie's book. I can't remember what the name of it is though. But we're going on. Yeah. But we're reaching about 3 hours. The next 10 floors will be about 45 minutes, so we're probably going to end the stream for tonight. Sorry if you just showed up, Peter. I do feel bad that like you just came in to say hi and like I'm about to end stream, but actually I'll talk for a little bit. To be fair, I'm not gonna do another 10 floors. Oh yeah, no, Nintendo. Like, that's one thing. Like I'll even pull it out. I own a Switch too. Like I got it for Christmas, and funnily enough, for those not in the Discord, I bought this Switch 2, and Amazon sent me 2, so I got a free Switch 2 that I gave to my brother, because Amazon messed up, so I $500 for free. But yeah, Nintendo makes really good games like that, and that's why I got a Switch 2. I never bought a PlayStation 5, despite the fact that I kind of wanted to. I kind of wanted to, just because I'm a massive Dark Souls fan. I'm a massive Soulsborne fan, FromSoft fan, and I really, really, really wanted to play the Demon Souls remake, but I wasn't gonna pay for a PlayStation 6 just to play Demon Souls because I genuinely didn't know if I would get my money's worth paying for the PlayStation 5. Like, yeah, there was Demon Souls, and that was basically it. And now with time, I can happily say, yeah, no, I wouldn't have got my money's worth. Basically, the only thing that I would have bought in that PlayStation 6 for was, Demon Souls. And it's not going to happen. I want it to happen. I hope they bring it to PC sometime. PlayStation's bringing their games to PC. Maybe they're going to do this. Maybe. But as for the Nintendo, I know that Nintendo is going to have good games. I know that there's going to be things that I want to play, that I enjoy, and in the case, like I know FromSoft, I know FromSoft is making Duskbloods, which I'm probably going to get unreleased, assuming that it's not bad, which would be weird if it was bad. I know Monolith is going to make new games. I know the new Mario, when they eventually make it's going to be good. I know the new Zelda, when they eventually make it's going to be good. So, yeah. I wouldn't even get it I wouldn't even get Bloodborne, the PS5 for Bloodborne. I'd get a PS4 because I own a PS4 and it's on there. It'd be cheaper. It's actually one of the reasons I bought a PS4 is the same reason for Bloodborne. It's one of the very few Souls games, also Sekiro, because I think Bloodborne and Sekiro are the only 2 Souls games that I've ever 100%ed. To be fair, Elden Ring, I have to do Ronnie's. Somehow I haven't done Ronnie's ending. I know what Ronnie's ending has done. I've beaten that game multiple times. I've just never done Ronnie's ending, and after that, I would have all the achievements for those games. But to be fair, like getting all the achievements for Bloodborne, or getting all the achievements for any of the Souls games is fucking painful. It's so bad. God, like grinding, like getting all the rings, the spells, it's because they're all tied to the Covenant. Sekiro's not that bad. I think there's one achievement for Sekiro that's annoying, but beyond that, it's like very natural stuff. I think Sekiro is honestly my favorite of the Soulsborne games. Like, it just yeah, I just really enjoy Sekiro. I think it's Well, it's just like one of the achievements is I think you have to like there's something to do with farming. Yeah, I remember farming the last area. I can't remember what it is. Oh, it's really good. It's the best. The joke that I like to do is it's the best rhythm game you'll ever play. It's also and the other thing is the hardest Souls game you'll ever play on the first playthrough. In the second playthrough, it'll be the easiest Soulsborne game you've ever played because the game's all parrying. It's amazing though. It's easily one of my favorite. It's easily one of my favorite games that FromSoft ever made. It also has by far the best final boss that they've ever done. Like, and it's not even close. It is not even close. Hesitation is defeat. I mean, any of the it's so great. I love Bloodborne, but like I don't know. There's something about Sekiro. Funnily enough, I'm actually currently me and a couple friends are actually currently waiting for the Dark Souls 2 seamless co-op mod to be finished, and we all plan on going back and playing through it because we've all just been wanting to play through Dark Souls 2 again, but like I said, we're kind of waiting for the seamless co-op mod because good God, playing any of the Souls games co-op is it's something. Because you had to go through the area once, then you have to go through the area again, then you have to go through the area again, then you have to fight the boss again, then you have to fight the boss again, then you have to fight the boss. So yeah, looking forward to that. I mean, Dark Souls 2 is fine. Like Dark Souls 2 gets crap because it's different. It is very different from the first game, and that's why it gets crap. But like honestly, it's perfectly fine. Like I think the other thing is like there's this misconception that people are like, "Oh, Dark Souls 2 is bad because the original team didn't work on it," and that's like not true either. Like the Dark Souls 1 team did work on Dark Souls 2. Miyazaki didn't work on 2. It's just Miyazaki. He's the one that didn't work on it. But the rest of the team is, my understanding is, yeah. But yeah, no, like Dark Souls 2 is like great. I really enjoy Dark Souls 2. Even though it has one of the worst areas in all of gaming, goddamn. To this day, Dark Souls 2 has the only Souls boss I've never beaten, and that's like the twin dogs and like the frozen outskirts because I refuse to go through that area. I refuse. I'm not doing it. Screw that area. Nah. I hate it. I hate it so much. But like, genuinely, like Dark Souls 2. Oh, it's been so long since I played Demon Souls. I don't know about, well. Favorite area in Demon Souls. Don't know, honestly. I really don't know. Probably just the castle, honestly, because I'm thinking like all the other areas. It's just, yeah, probably just the castle. Probably just the castle. Yeah. Dark Souls, like Demon Souls had some interesting bosses. Well, it's because like the whole like lore with Maiden Estrella is that she's literally just there to like help the downtrodden, and so when you come in, she's like, "Oh, I'll help you too," and then you kill her like Warrior Garden's like, "Oh, you bastard," and then she just kind of dies. So you literally take her only reason to live. Yeah, something like that. Oh, A game that's talking about FromSoft games, but like one that genuinely surprised me is I didn't think I was gonna like Night Rain as much as I did. Like Night Rain, if you haven't played Elden Ring, Night Rain is really great, fantastic multiplayer game. If you have friends to play with, it's great. I mean, yeah, to be fair, Night Rain is fun. I really hope that they experiment with like other things like that in the future. I'm really interested to see more about Duskbloods, honestly, because I'll be honest, I'm not the whole extraction shooter genre has never been something that's been too interesting to me. Yeah, Night Rain is. Oh, you haven't heard about Night Rain? Night Rain is just multiplayer Elden. Well, basically, it's kind of it's Elden. All of Elden Ring's weapons. You basically go into this giant circle, and you have basically 2 in-game days to get weapons and upgrades and get levels before you take on a big boss. It's some of the best bosses they've ever made. Like genuinely, the DLC that they released. You know, I was talking about. Yeah, it's genuinely like phenomenal. Hi, Mitch. You came in just to hear us talking about Night Rain. We are winding down. You missed all the deep dungeons, like me cursing your name earlier because I exploded the 2 chests. And it reminded me of that time you killed me with a luring trap. But yeah, we're talking about Night Rain. But yeah, Night Rain is generally like incredibly fun. Kind of, sort of. Yeah, it's roguelike elements. Basically, it's yeah, you essentially you get in and you have like 15 minutes for the first day. No, what happened is that you actually missed something pretty funny. I cleared a treasure room and I opened up a silver chest that exploded, and immediately opened up another silver chest and exploded, and so I died on floor. I died on like the second 20 floors because I was like impatient and didn't wait because I am a dumbass. But yeah, actually, you know what? I'm curious. Do I still have? Damn, I don't have Night Rain installed anymore. I was gonna go play a Night Rain run. But yeah, no, Night Rain, especially if you have friends, is incredibly fun. Like even for people that don't play all the Souls game, like Mitch there, like she started playing Souls with all her other friends, or she's probably playing Night Rain with her other friends. And like to my knowledge, I don't think you've played any other of the games, right, Mitch? It's like it's just so fun, like. And the thing is, it's not like a direct copy of Elden Ring. It's different enough that if you were to try to play Night Rain and go back to Elden Ring, it would screw with you because it's not exactly the same. Because the other like really cool thing is that Night Rain is Night Rain is all the really interesting concept is that, you know, all the characters are basically different jobs. They all have like unique abilities and things like that. Oh, well, cool. Yeah, they actually. So the nice thing is that they do have a duo mode, so you can just play with you and your brother. Very highly recommend it though. Great game. Some of the best bosses they've ever played. Undertaker's really funny when you have just 3 of them. Because, like, I think me, Postal, and Death, which is another one of our friends, we're doing all 3 Undertakers, and it was the most damage that we've ever done. If you like, yeah. For the record, if you like Expedition, you'll like Sekiro. Same concept with the parrying. Oh. I wouldn't do Terraria Hardcore. I need to do Master Mode at some point. I love Terraria. How many hours have I put into Terraria? Let us look. I have exactly 1,463 hours in Terraria. I have way too many hours in that goddamn game. And there will be more. Yeah. Well, like expert and master are both like really fun. Well, okay, not necessarily master. The problem with master mode is the problem with master mode is unlike expert, it just doesn't add a lot of new content. It just adds pets and like the trophies and things like that. I play on PC. Like some of those hours are actually no, they're not. Like there's also modded Terraria, that which would be T mod loader. How much do I have in T mod loader? I have another 100 hours in T mod loader. That's because like Terraria has like some of the best like mod support you'll ever get out there, like Calamity and stuff like that. Like literally like doubles the length of the game, triples, quadruples actually at times. Like it's amazing. But no, genuinely, we're gonna ignore the fact that I haven't touched the other beast traps. It's just one of those games where, to be fair, there was a period in time where I had a crappy computer where the only thing I could play really was Terraria, so that's part of the reason, but it's also just a game that I really enjoy. There's just a mod where, like, not mod, but there's just like, it's just one of those games where, like, anytime there's a major update, I'll put hours upon hours in. Yeah, I mean, like, there's Calamity, there's, Calamity's the big one, but there's, like, Thorium. There's like a couple other big ones that I don't know. They're updating the Calamity mod too. Like they're doing like a Calamity 2 mod, which is gonna be interesting and whatnot. Well, it is getting late. And I've been yapping. I'm just sitting here. And I enjoy yapping. I enjoy yapping quite a bit. Oh yeah, you very easily can. Like I said, Calamity itself adds so much time. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be going to bed soon. We'll be back Tuesday for more Kingdoms of the Dump. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll be doing Kingdoms of the Dump. And then we'll come back to more Deep Dungeons on the weekend. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do. Yep. I'm glad that the Blue Mage guides are help, but it's always funny. Like there's like a solid chance when someone like knows, like, you know, there's like over 100 videos on the channel, but I know like most people that know about me are gonna be like from Blue Mage. Night Mitch, night everybody. But yeah, no, we'll be back next weekend. It'll either be Saturday, Sunday, maybe both days. We'll be doing more Deep Dungeon. But assuming the great DDoSing doesn't happen again. I don't know, I might pick that up, but that was me knocking on wood. Yeah, it's not that bad. And it might be a 5% chance, but I don't know about that. It might be higher for like dungeons and stuff like that. But honestly, if you get the right spells, it's really not that hard to like solo. But yeah. Good night, everybody. I wish you luck on hunting your Blue Mage spells, and I'll be back another day for some